Hello and welcome. If you are new to the channel, this is a fifth video in a series that comprises of 5 videos. So this is the last video in that series. This video is building up on video number 3. In that video, we installed Nginx Proxy Manager, but we didn't do any configurations to the Proxy Manager. We are going to complete the setup, and that involves making sure that we have some domains that point to our container, and those domains have SSL certificate for security. And when I talk about those domains, I'm referring to the main domain, which is going to point to our WordPress website. Then we are going to have a subdomain that is going to point to our Nginx Proxy Manager container, and then finally we are going to have another subdomain that is going to point to Portainer. This will help us secure access to these containers using the SSL certificate, and we are going to use Let's Encrypt for that purpose. If you're not familiar with Nginx Proxy Manager or Docker, there are previous videos that you can refer to. That is video 1, which introduces Docker in a cloud environment. Then we have video 2, where we install Nginx Proxy Manager in a Docker container. And then we have the video 3, in which we install Portainer, which is a graphical Docker management tool that makes Docker management as easy as 1, 2, 3. And then the fourth one, which helps you understand how you can have 2 containers communicating with each other. In this case, I'm using WordPress and MySQL to show that 2 containers can interact with each other, one being the front end and the other one being the database for the system. Without wasting any time, let's get started. I'll be demonstrating the next steps using Ionos, but you can also use any other web hosts. So when you log in, you're going to come to this section of the website. You just need to click on domains and SSL. I have a number of domains with Ionos. This is the one that I want to demonstrate this session with. So solidfuture.com, I'm going to click on it. And then from here, I'm going to select the option for creating a subdomain, and you can see it up here, subdomains. I have one subdomain. I'm going to create 2 subdomains, one for Portainer, and for the Portainer subdomain I'm just going to call it cloud.solidfuture.com, and the other one for Nginx Proxy Manager, which I can call admin or proxy, whichever name you want to give them. And then the main domain, which is solidfuture.com, is going to point to the WordPress website that we created at some point in this course. So let's start by creating the subdomains. So you come to this button here and click on it. My first subdomain is cloud.solidfuture.com. We're going to save and create another one as well. Then we create another one we're going to call admin, and this one is the domain for Nginx Proxy Manager. Save. Can cancel. Because the other one is going to take some time to come, I'm going to go to my Linodes and copy my IP address here, which is this one. So copy this IP address, go back here. As we wait for the other domain to come online or to be created, we are going to come here and do DNS. Then scroll down all the way to where we have A records. So look for this A records. We have this cloud, which means when somebody puts http cloud.solidfuture.com, it's going to point to whatever we put here, the IP address that we have copied from here, this one. And when somebody puts www, still the same. So we are going to edit both records. Let me edit and paste the IP address here that we have copied. Time to leave, I'm going to make it 5 minutes, but it doesn't matter what you put, so 5 minutes will work for me. And then I save. I need to come back again here. That's for www. The one that doesn't have www is going to use this. So again, and give it 5 minutes. Save. Good. Then after that, we can still come to subdomains. That's the first subdomain. We come, and the other subdomain is still being created, so we give it some time, and you keep on refreshing until it appears here. But as I wait for it to propagate, there's a step that we missed that I want to show you how you can do. Go back to details. This is the main domain, which is solidfeature.com. We need to adjust the DNS settings by going to adjust name servers here, destination target, adjust name servers here. I have already done this. In your case, you are going to come and edit name servers, then you put these four. So ns1.linode.com, ns2.linode.com, ns3.linode.com, and ns4.linode.com. These domains, you get them under domains in linode.com. You are going to see this when we go to the other side. We start configuring Linode. This host, as I have seen, it doesn't take so long, so it's going to propagate within a short time. But some hosts can take forever. So if you are working with a host that is going to take forever, you just go to your terminal, whether it's Windows or Linux. After you configure everything, so you can do ping solidfuture.com, then enter. You're supposed to get replies if the domain is working, so you're going to keep on doing this. Let's see whether the cloud one is working. Cloud.solid-future.com. We see whether it's already on the internet. It has not propagated, so we can't use it until we are able to get some replies here. So you have to keep on doing this until this domain has propagated. When it has propagated, we go to the next step. Let's now check if our second subdomain has been created, and this was admin.solidfuture.com. Our other subdomain is now active, as you can see here. So we go to here, DNS, we edit a record, admin.solidfuture.com, edit, put the IP address that we copied from Linode. 5 minutes. You can give whatever time you want, but 5 minutes is going to work. But just note that between 5 minutes and 48 hours, you might see some unusual behavior happening on your domain, sometimes pointing the wrong place, something that is not straightforward. So if you find some unusual behavior with your domain within the 48 hours, that one is allowed. But after that, everything is going to work perfectly. So let's save this and also edit for www. We have configured without www. The other one should be the one for www. Where is that? Let's go to our subdomain again in case you encounter this problem. Admin DNS, a record working perfectly, but the other a record. So when you get to this point, which rarely happens, this is one of the things that I was telling you. Sometimes it misbehaves when you try to do it within a certain time. So we can add a record, and we are going to add an A record because now it's not allowing us to configure it directly, and the record is going to be www.admin.solidfuture.com. admin, then solidfuture.com. It's going to have a time to live of 5 minutes, and this record, it's going to point to our address again, which is 172. We can confirm 172.105, this one. Save. The record has been created successfully. As you can see, we have this www.admin and we have admin, so both will be working for these domains. Before we continue, we can check again ping cloud.solidfuture.com. Still is not working, so give it enough time until you're able to ping it. But for us to be able to configure SSL for these domains, they need to be working. At the moment they are not working, so the only domain that is working at the moment is solidfuture.com. We are going to configure these domains on Linode side of things, so that now we can start using domains instead of using IP addresses. Thank you. So the first thing you need to do is just create a domain here, and the domain that we are going to create is cloud.solidfuture.com. That's the first domain. You need to give a domain an email, so in case there's anything or any communication that nodes want to make to you, they're going to be using this email. You need to come here and insert records from one of my Linodes, so that this domain is connected to that Linode. And in this case, we are using Bogtech Linode. You will probably have one unless you have created many Linodes. I have two, one for my official use, and these are the one that I'm creating for this course. So if I just click on create domain, this is going to be created. Remember what I told you, these are the name servers that I did show you: ns1, ns2, ns3, ns4, ns5 .linode.com. These are the ones that we just added at oneunknown.com. Remember, we did them for the main domain, which is solidfuture.com. so this is all good, and there's nothing else you need to do after that. As you can see, you need to make sure that the A record, which is this, is pointing to this, and www is also pointing to this. You can even point mail and IP version 6 addresses, but for now let's just leave things as they are. It's going to work perfectly once the domains propagate. You don't even need mail.cloud.solidfuture.com. In case you're having mail, you are not going to put it on the subdomain. It's going to be mail.solidfuture.com. We need to go back to the domains again create. The other one was admin.solidfuture.com. Email, you can use the same email, then insert a default Linode. Then we are using this Linode so that the domain points to the right Linode, and then create a domain. And just like that, we are done. We have a domain here, admin@solidfuture.com, and the other one, which is cloud.solidfuture.com. Now this is not going to work because it has not propagated, and we can test again to see. Ping cloud.solidfuture.com, enter. It will not work because it has not propagated, so you need to give it enough time for it to propagate, and then everything will work as expected. I'm going to delete this solidfuture.com and recreate again solidfuture.com. So let's delete it, then we can create it again. So primary solidfuture.com, email can be anything. Linode, we want it to point to this Linode and we create it again. And now we are done. The next step is going to Nginx Proxy Manager. So let's log into Nginx Proxy Manager. This one, we said the IP address is the same IP address we have been using, which is this, and we come put it here, then :81. That's where our Nginx Proxy Manager is, and the username, the email was that, the password was then we can start now configuring our domains. It's a very straightforward process. You start with SSL certificate, but they are not active, so you go to hosts, proxy host, add proxy host, and this is where now we need to also log into Portainer. So Portainer, the same IP address, copy, paste here, go to Portainer, which is 9000. Then we can log in. Username is bogtech. Logged on. Then you said you always go to the environment. We are interested with containers here, and the reason why we want to go to the container, let's start with the WordPress, which is bogtech.wordpress.com, and we said the WordPress website was 8081, so we can come here. Let's see whether 8081 is working, which is this. The blog is working, so we can come here to Nginx Manager. First we go to Portainer. We are interested with bogtech WordPress. We need this IP address here. We copy it, we go to Nginx Proxy Manager, we paste it here, and we give the domain solidfuture.com. The port is port 80. Enable everything. Okay, if you don't enter, it disappears. solidfuture.com, enter. Then the next thing here is we are supposed to give it an SSL. As you can see, there is no SSL, so we can request a new SSL. Force, but I like doing it the other way around, so we can ignore what we have done, come to SSL certificate, add an SSL certificate, and the domain name is solidfuture.com. Don't enable the challenge, but agree, save, give it a few minutes to create the certificate. I think the domain name is not complete. Let's try again. Add an SSL certificate, solidfuture.com, enter, save. The process might take quite some time, but you just need to be patient. So let's try the last time. So solidfuture.com, enter, agree, don't enable the challenge, save, but give it some time to work. As you can see, we have created the SSL certificate for Solid Future. We need to come again here, add, let's encrypt, then www.solidfuture.com, because even this one needs its own certificate, and then we can save. This process is going to take some time. As you can see, it's now done. After this is done, you just come to hosts, proxy host, then we add a proxy host, then the domain name. The first one is solidfuture.com, enter. Then the IP address, we need to copy it again. We go to Portainer, it was this, copy, then paste it here, remove this space, and it's using port 80 in the container. Then you can enable all this. Before you save, you need to go to SSL, then you select the SSL without www. By now it should be appearing here. Then you save. All good, as you can see. Let's add for the other one another proxy host, the same IP address, because they are going to the same website, 80, then www.solidfuture.com. Enter. Again the same thing here. Then we give it an SSL certificate, the one with www. We enable everything, and then we save. All good. Then on our blog we need to log in. wp admin, enter. We said it's BogTech. Log in. All good. So we need to come here to settings, general, and change this to solid-future.com, and then we can put this HTTPS. The same here. Then we can save. As you can see, we now have our domain with SSL certificate, and it's working as expected. The certificate is valid. As you can see here, these are the details of the certificate, and all is configured as you'd expect, and everything is working fine. We are now going to set up the subdomain so that you're able to access our Nginx Proxy Manager and our Portainer using the subdomain admin.solidfuture.com and cloud.solidfuture.com, and also in a secure way where we will be using the SSL certificate to access them. I'm just going to take you very quickly on how you're going to configure your subdomains, that is cloud.solidfuture.com and admin.solidfuture.com. We said the first step is to check whether our domain has propagated. I believe at least one of the domain may have propagated, admin.solid-future.com. Enter. This one is now working. We can configure it, clear and minimize this. So you need to just go to certificates, then you add a certificate. Let's encrypt. Then admin.solid-future.com. Enter. Agree. One thing you need to note is you don't need to put the www version of this domain, because this is not a domain that is going to be used by the public. This is just for you to be using. So you just know that you can only access this using admin without www. So we can see whether it's going to create the certificate for us. Give it a few seconds. Good. That's a good sign. It has created the certificate, as you can see here. You can come to hosts, proxy host, add proxy host, and then the IP address for this was 172.20.0.10. That was it. The port is always 80. Allow this, allow this, allow this. Then it has disappeared, so it's admin.solidfuture.com. Enter. Then here you can just go to SSL, look for SSL for admin, which is this one. Select it, force all these options, and then save. After this, you'll be using admin.solidfuture.com to access your Nginx Proxy Manager. You're not going to be using the IP address then /81 to access Nginx Manager. you're going to be using admin.yourdomain, then you're going to be able to access your Nginx Manager. Now it's time to configure the second subdomain. As usual, first we need to check whether it's working. So cloud.solidfeature.com, enter. Now we are ready to configure our second domain since it has propagated. So I'm going to go to SSL section, add SSL, let's encrypt, and then from here we can give the name of the subdomain, cloud.solidfuture.com, enter, agree to this, and then we can give it some time to create the SSL certificate. This usually takes less than a minute unless something is wrong with the domain. All good. We have cloud.solidfeature.com here as the new SSL certificate. As I said with the other one, even this one you don't need to put the www version of SSL. We can now go to host, proxy hosts, add new proxy, cloud.solidfuture.com, enter. The IP address is 172.20.0.11 if you can remember, then 80, port 80, enable all these. Then we can now pick the SSL from here. It's going to be cloud.solidfeature.com, which is this one. Enable that one as well, that one, and finally this. And then we can save the domain and we'll be good to go. Now if you go to cloud.solidfuture.com, the domain is going to open the Portainer container manager. As you can see, it's already accessing Portainer, and that's all that we need to do to access it. By now you know how to create an image using the Docker file. We saw that a bit earlier. You know how to work with multiple containers using Docker Compose, and you know how you can manage your containers using Portainer. You know how you can point your domain names to your containers, how to put SSL certificates to secure the containers. I believe this is quite good information for you to get you started with Docker. There's a lot more you can do with Docker and the tools that I've shown you here, but I'm going to leave this for the future. Until then, I wish you all the best. I hope this course was informative to you and educative, and you learned new things that are going to help you in the future. Until we meet again, all I can say for now is goodbye. Please let me know how you feel about this video by liking or disliking it. Or you can as well leave a comment. I will respond to it as soon as I see it. If you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe and also remember to activate the notification button